I just cut myself shaving right before the show. Whoa. That's my Cutting Crew parody, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you come here to watch this. I actually did. I cut myself shaving right before the show. And I'm thinking, what an inopportune time to cut myself shaving, like out of all times. I mean, right before work, it's like common. Somebody shows up and they've got like the classic piece of toilet paper stuck to their face. I'm sure there's people out there who don't know what that is because they've seen it in commercials, but they don't understand why people would have paper stuck to their face. And there's like blood. It was disgusting. But I just did that and I'm thinking, well, how do I get this to stop bleeding in time? Fortunately, it's all good now. But yeah, my Cutting Crew parody is on sale now at Sam Goody. Half price. Half price? Have we all gone mad? You may be thinking, does this guy ever do any lines not from a Ghostbusters movie? And remember, we're ready to believe you. Hey, it's Jay from Sludge Central. Lots to talk about tonight. First things first, Ecto Cooler may be making a return. I'm sure you've read this already. I would like to enjoy this myself, so perhaps High C can release a zero sugar version, Ecto Cooler Zero. Wouldn't that be some shit for people like me? And I realize not everybody cares about that, but it gives people like me the opportunity to enjoy these types of things. I should say events because they turn into events. Life-changing events. It would be absolutely incredible to have it back, of course. And I will believe it when it materializes. That's my paranormal humor. I want to get into some pickups, but in terms of collecting, there's always a lot of packages coming in. If you pre-order a lot online, if you're an action figure collector, toy collector, you get a lot of packages in the mail. Have you ever gotten a package and then maybe had to clean up the house or whatever, took the box, stuffed it away so heavily in the dungeon that you don't even remember where you put it? And then maybe 3 months later, maybe even 6 months later or more, you find this box. Then you're like, wow, my past self sent future self a surprise gift. It's very Bill and Ted's. I love it. Maybe you should intentionally do that, and then you're gonna forget. And then when you get it, you're like, wow, this thing is awesome. I'm glad I sent it to myself. WWE is finally on Netflix. It's been on for a couple of weeks. I think it's great to have it on Netflix. I consider myself a lifelong fan of WWE, and I'm not even aware of what's going on in terms of where things are streaming or where I watch what program. I can't even tell you all the programs at this point. I need someone to dumb it down for me. And my friend always calls the PLEs, the artists formerly known as pay-per-views, he calls them papes. And I realize that this is a thing now within the wrestling community that you call the pay-per-views papes, which I find very amusing. I think that's a great, fun thing to say because it abbreviates pay-per-views, but it's ironic because now they're premium live events. It's a tangled web. I'm here for it. So they call them the papes. So then I'm thinking, well, where do I watch the papes now? Okay, I go to Peacock for the papes, but what about the tapes? I want to watch Super Tape 3 Coliseum Home Video. Is that still on Peacock with the papes? Are the tapes with the papes? But I finally got the rundown, so it's all good now. It's just like chaotic for me. I can't even keep track of it. Some other TV viewing, Harley Quinn, the animated series, one of my favorite programs, but it's only once a week. And there's only been one episode. Don't do this to me. Just put the whole show on Max. Give me the whole thing, the whole enchilada. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I do need to just wait it out until the whole series is up. But who has that kind of patience? I don't have that kind of patience to sit there and wait 2 months almost. It's completely absurd. Just give me the whole season. Just give me what I want. Give me what I want. I'm going to get into some action figures I picked up. First, some food things that I picked up. I shouldn't say things. I should say thing. I've been buying these Planters peanuts. They're like a special reserve peanut. Now, I can't really explain to you why they are special reserve. There's a whole load of text right there probably explaining some fancy process that they do to get these nuts. And they're not paying me for this. It would be nice. Maybe they give me some samples of nuts. I would sample the nuts. I don't give a shit. I love nuts. I don't care. So the thing about these is they are the most voluptuous nuts I've ever seen. They are extremely mega huge nuts. Think of like a lima bean on steroids. These nuts took the Bane venom. Remember when Bane would get the juice and it would just pump them up? That is what happened to these nuts right here. I'm not kidding you. I wouldn't pull the wool over your eyes. These are the greatest peanuts I have ever had in my entire life. I got them on the first release and then they sold out. So I'm thinking I had like some limited edition nuts and they were delicious. The best. I wouldn't steer you wrong. The other thing about these is they have that sort of like kind of shell around them that falls off. I mean, I'm not familiar with if that has some kind of technical term or something. They're like little shawls for the nuts. A cold nut, they need a shawl. All right, time for some pickups. We've got Bray Wyatt. From his match with LA Knight, the Pitch Black match. This Superman figure is probably the best figure from the McFarlane Superpowers line. Well done. I'm a huge Bizarro fan, so I do love that they came out with Bizarro. I'm not too crazy about his facial sculpt. Like, it's good, but he almost looks like he could be like an extra in The Sopranos. I've been iffy on the Superpowers line in general since day one. I feel like it was a miracle that they came out because as a huge Superpowers fan as a kid, I always wanted that line to continue. Once the internet came out, that's when we were able to see all of those catalogs and different pictures of the stuff that never came out. Now, the chance is there to get some of these figures. The vehicles, McFarlane did a great job on. I mean, I think that's just well known. I noted it as soon as I got them. I'm thinking, this Batmobile is such a great amalgamation of all the different Batmobiles, including Superpowers, obviously, but it evokes so many different little nuances from throughout the years. So I think they knocked that out of the park. The Supermobile was friggin' awesome because I had that little Corgi die-cast Supermobile that I still have from when I got it in 1982. So getting that for the action figures, phenomenal. And then they had Blue Beetles, the Bug Ship, absolutely killer. The vehicles were a big hit for me, and I know they were for a lot of you as well. But the action figures is where I had some issues. And I know so many people also were not too happy about it. And that is, they're not in the same scale. I'm not an action figure snob whatsoever with articulation. I don't really care. But scale is important to me. They should have just used the same mold and done the exact same concept as the old ones. You need to be able to incorporate and intermingle the new releases with the OGs. You got to have big parties at the Hall of Justice, like complete bashes. Like, I know a great sand guy will have sand wall to wall.
Or foam, whatever.
But in some cases, these are figures that we were only dreaming about back in the day. And now we're actually getting them. Don't get me wrong. I love them and I'm buying them for sure. But it does bother me that they're not really exact to the old Superpowers figures. One of the other pickups was Sheila from Dungeons and Dragons. One of my favorite cartoons as a kid. I got some huge nuts, huge voluptuous nuts, so we're good to go. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, and remember to hit subscribe here. It's been a great time. Thanks for hanging out with me here at Sludge Central. I am Jay, signing off.